All right, and we are live. Hey guys, tonight I want to introduce you again to an incredible man. His name is Stan Padgett. He is a 38-year trial attorney. Him and his wife have been married for 44 years, and he is the relationship expert. And I can say that with pure confidence because of the fact that I've gone through his course and I've been in his presence and have been able to absorb so much information and really great teaching from him. And him and his wife live an incredible example. And I don't know about you, but if there's somebody that has had a relationship that is so successful that has lasted 44 years, that's somebody that I want to learn from. They say success leaves clues, and he is going to give us all the clues and the tips and things that we need. So I remember going to his event. There was a live event one time, and I remember sitting there, and one of the things that really stuck out to me was he was talking about communication. Now, in sales world and all these types of things, you know, we're great communicators. You know, we're always talking, but in our relationships, I feel like sometimes we kind of hold back what we're really thinking and really feeling because we just, mainly as women, expect the guys to know. We just expect you to know what's wrong. Otherwise, we wouldn't say things like, I'm fine, you know, and they're like left guessing, oh, wait, what does that mean? You know, well, you know, am I in trouble? All these things, right? Mm-hmm. Well, whenever I was sitting there and listening to Stan, he was talking about, he's like, we're not mind readers. I'm like, well, I know that, but yet why are we playing these games? Because that's really what it is. It's a game. And that's not fair to our partner. So whenever we can sit there and really be expressive and say, okay, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I need. You know, how can I better please you? How can I, you know, how can we have better joint communication together to make sure that we are fireproofing our relationship, basically. He had an event, we were talking about, my dad said something about with cars, you know, you go and get it and fix it for a tune-up. Why would you not do the same thing for your relationship? Get your relationship tuned up, get in tune with your partner. And that's exactly what Stan does, and he's incredible at it. So I want to introduce him to you guys and let him have free, you know, reigns to speak on what he thinks and what he has for us. And also he is going to be at our event coming up in March. I'm so excited you guys get to learn from him in person and meet him. But he's going to give us some things to be able to do now and use to be able to get us to that next point. So Stan, can you hear me okay?
I can. Thank you for the wonderful introduction.
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on here and for investing in us and spreading your knowledge and being a willing vessel to do this. Really, it takes a lot for somebody to just step out and share.
Well, look, it's something I enjoy doing because I was lucky. I found my partner when she was 16 and I was 17, and so I did what in football terms we call I way out kicked my coverage, and I married her before she knew better. That was but one of these things that I have learned about communication, I'm going to talk about in the initial stage of a relationship, even before marriage. Women communicate differently, and until you realize that men and women communicate differently, they think differently, you can't get to effective communication. So the particular example you were talking about of he should know this, we're going to separate it physically and emotionally. Emotionally first. In the short term, in the very beginning of a relationship, a lot of men will try to meet that. They'll try to work with that idea of I got to figure out what she wants, and it really isn't fair. But I'll tell you what's going to happen. To some extent, it's a manipulation technique. Mm-hmm. Think about it in those terms.
Yeah.
You want to keep him off balance and keep him guessing. Well, that's not his natural state. So there's going to come a point where either he's going to walk away because I'm not dealing with this. Mm-hmm. Or if you stay in the relationship, he's simply going to stop responding to that. He's going to say, you're an adult woman, and until you're adult enough to tell me what you want, I'm not interested. Mm-hmm. What do you tell your children when they're throwing a tantrum? Use your words.
Right.
So use your words. You can get what you want if you tell us, but we're not going to guess. And that's the emotional piece. Let's flip it. Let's flip it into the bedroom. You don't know what feels the right way to you every time. Better question, Laura, does the same thing feel the same way every time?
No.
Do you know what's going to feel right each time you start?
No,
If you don't know, how are we supposed to?
exactly.
Okay. So you can either be silent and be frustrated,
Hmm.
or you can be open and you can be, I mean, physical is an important part of a long-term relationship.
Right.
And when that's good, does it make up for everything else? The answer is no. But when everything else is pretty good, that can help take you to the next level
Right.
where you're really connecting, because both on both sides, men and women, you really let down an awful lot of walls during when you're making love. You have to be interested enough to do it.
Right.
And when you're letting the walls down and you can be honest and you can be validated. Isn't it interesting if you say, keep going or keep doing whatever it is you're doing, and you get a positive response? You feel heard, you feel validated, aside from all the other good things that are happening. And it gives you a pattern that you can now take and apply in the rest of your communication, where if you ask for something very specific and you get it. Now, what do you do with when you're teaching your children, or you just said you have a new puppy?
Hmm.
The new
Yes.
puppy does something good. What do?
Good job, good boy.
You reward
Yay.
them
You praise
verbally
him.
with physical affection, with a
Yep.
treat, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Why do you do that?
Because you want them to keep doing what he did
Do you
because it was
think maybe
good.
that? And how many of you think men are dogs anyway? So if you at least work at it like, okay, I'm going to try and reinforce the positive. I would do that with my pet. I would do that with my child. Why wouldn't I do that with my most significant relationship? And make
Right.
no mistake, your relationship with your spouse, your partner, is your most significant relationship.
Yeah,
Because if
absolutely.
that's good, all of that flows over onto your children. If that's bad, guess what? It all flows over onto your children too.
Yep.
All right. There's something that I thought about after the last live that we did. One of the things that I said was, don't say anything to yourself. It was about your self-talk.
Right.
Don't say anything to yourself that you wouldn't allow someone else to say to you.
Right.
And that's true, but
Hmm.
that's not broad enough. Here's why. Many people who are already suffering from low self-esteem, who give themselves the negative self-talk, are not assertive enough to tell someone else, you can't talk to me that way.
Yeah.
So I need to change the statement a little bit. Don't say anything to yourself that you would be hurt or offended if somebody else said it to you.
Yeah.
Don't say anything to your children that you would be hurt or offended if you heard someone else say to them. Don't say anything to your spouse or your partner that you would be hurt or offended if you heard someone else say to them. Hold yourself to the same standard you'd hold other people. And most people, especially women, would do far more to protect their children than they will to protect themselves. But you need to take that approach and apply it, because as you grow, you're in a much better position to help your children grow. You're in a much better position to be a full partner in a relationship.
Yeah. And even when you think that they're not watching, kids really are watching everything.
That's exactly right. You are always an example to your children.
Yeah.
When you tell them something and tell them there's going to be a consequence and don't follow up, you just taught them that what you say means nothing.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then you're frustrated because they won't listen to you. Why not? They don't listen because they don't have any reason to believe what you're telling them.
Mhm.
So in other words, you've not been honest with them, and now they don't have any reason to respond to you. You don't, your parenting style is your own and everybody's is different. My father, who's almost 90, tells stories of growing up on a cotton farm in the Depression. And when his father, my grandfather, wanted to punish him, it was taking leather mule traces and punishing.
Yep.
You know, we have all different methodologies, from leather mule traces to modern, and
Yep.
it doesn't matter what parenting style you have, as long as you are absolutely consistent in it
Yeah.
and that you're absolutely congruent with your partner. That's one of those things you got to be on the same page.
Yep.
Your relationship it is critical to the success of your relationship that your parenting be unified. And that's especially difficult when you have second marriages, my kids, your kids, our kids.
Yep.
That's really hard. That's one of those places where you were asking about things that you need to talk about before you say I do.
Mhm.
Believe me, that's one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I believe this is really going to help the people in our profession is because a lot of times whenever one person joins a new adventure, or they start to, have like a side job, or, do something that's creative and it's different, the other partner can feel left out, or feel like they, they, sorry, I have one on my lap, so now here's two. Um, um, like they're getting less of that person.
Mhm.
And it has like a double-edged sword, because either they'll do it together, and that works pretty well if they can do it together. But if one person isn't really interested in the same thing the other person is doing, then it can feel like they're getting left out. They can feel like they're not getting the support from their spouse that they should feel like they're getting, or they would need or would like. Divorce rate in network marketing, in direct sales, in real estate, all these different types of things is really high, because in this type of stuff, there's a lot of personal development. There's a lot of learning about yourself, becoming more self-aware of, who you are, how you talk, how you treat people, all that type of things. And so we really want to have something to where it can really strengthen your relationships and a unity. And so we can take those statistics down that are saying, well, if you do this, you're going to get a divorce. If you're, it's going to be hard on your marriage, it's going to be hard on your relationship, and I feel like this is so important to be able to give people some really good tools to be able to make sure that, that kind of stuff doesn't happen to them. And so that's why we really want to invest in them this way.
Well, let's take it from a couple of levels. That's what you said makes a tremendous amount of sense. But let's start with the pure business basis.
Okay.
Let's assume you have a couple who isn't working together to build a direct marketing, network marketing business.
Yeah.
The way that they treat each other will have in front of the people that they're working with, will have a massive effect on their success.
Yeah.
If they are ever disrespectful to each other, they've diminished themselves and the business instantly. Because if you see a man being disrespectful to his wife, is that somebody you want to work with? If you see, if a woman is disrespectful to her husband or to her partner, do you want to work with that person? Well, no. Remember, you are trying to attract and lead a team. That's what you have to do to be successful in your industry.
Right.
So the way that you treat each other, and that has to come from your core. That's not part of the uniform you put on before you go out to your network marketing meeting.
Right.
It's not before you put that on before you do your Zoom, you go to your event.
Right.
Who you are will always show through. It
Mm-hmm.
will always show through.
Absolutely.
Animals know what you really are. Children know what you really are. Other people do too. We only think we fool other people. The only people we ever really fool is ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's on the business side, but let's talk about your growth point is awesome. When Linda and I married, we were both very young. I had just started college, already knew I wanted to go to law school. And Linda's grandmother, who is a very wonderful, wise woman that I miss immensely, pulled her aside and said, you have to grow with him. You have to, if you're going to be with him. And I thought, what an amazing thing. She didn't tell me about this. I didn't learn a lot of this stuff till years later, but that's okay. But she said, you have to grow because he's going to, and you've got to go with him.
Yeah,
Look, every one of us should be working on ourselves. And I have seen
absolutely.
people that don't, that one will, one won't. You can't make, but you can be, as you grow, you're going to have to be more compassionate to your partner. You're going to have to let them come at their pace. They can't be forced. They have to be drawn. So pulled doesn't work. Attracted does. You don't go out on the street when you're looking for a mate, see the one you want and go grab them by the tie or the shirt and say, we're going to the preacher. Let's get it done.
Exactly.
It works. You attract them. You
Hmm.
draw them in by your character, your conduct, your communication. You do that here too. So
Exactly. We have a saying in network marketing, actually. It's, you never ask someone to marry you after the first hello. As far as like, well, you want to join my company, you want to do this, being so forceful right then. And I feel like it coincides so much with relationships, with your spouse in actively building a business, just how you would want to better communicate with your partner. You want to better communicate with your customers and people that you want to talk to. And this is great stuff. Keep going.
well, think about it. In the word that I've heard used in network marketing that you're talking about is posture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When who do you think is the most attractive girl or guy? The one who is throwing themselves at you or the one who's playing a little hard to get?
Absolutely hard to get.
Okay. So if you tell someone, hey, this is what I do, if you decide you have an interest, let me know. We'll sit down. I'll interview you. What do you mean interview me?
Yeah.
Well, I may not want you. You may not be a good fit for my business. That's sort of like
Yep.
saying, I'm happy to go on a first date with you, but I don't know if you fit in my life
Exactly.
yet. I don't know what your beliefs are. I don't know what your standards are. Maybe you fit,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you don't. And I'm happy to explore that with you, but not today.
Yeah.
You're going to have them chasing you.
Yep.
So why not?
Exactly.
Why not set yourself up for success in business and in relationships?
It's so crazy. I just realized how much alike they really truly are, because even when you get married, you were talking about how you and your wife, you have date night. You guys
We
go
do.
on dates. You date her.
I do.
And it's the same thing with your team and your customers. You need to check on them and, say, hey, is there anything I can do for you? How is things going? Is this working well for you? All that type of stuff. And I think it's so much the same thing. It's kind of blowing my own mind right now, how
It
similar
really,
that is.
you are building a relationship. You're building a team.
Yeah.
And there's a wonderful guy that I know named Larry Yatch. Larry was a SEAL team leader. He was an officer, but he went through SEAL training buds. And in the SEALs, you go through all of it the same. There's no difference between enlisted and officers,
Yeah.
except, of course, that all the trainers are enlisted. And this is their chance to make sure that, number one, the officers that they may have to follow, that they're going to have to place their lives in their hands, are the best trained soldiers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what is he trying to do? What do the SEALs do? What do you actually call them? It's called a SEAL team.
Yeah.
It's people who will live and die for each other. And here's one of the things that I heard Larry say that I thought was brilliant. He said, if you got two SEAL teams together, you got 12 guys, and you're in a fight, and you are more concerned about the lives of those other 11 men than you are about yours, and all of them are more concerned about your life than they are about theirs, you are so much safer, because if you're just looking out for number one, there's one person looking out for you, just you. If you're part of that kind of a high functioning team, there are 11 people who would rather see you live than them. Which way are you safer?
Being a part of the team, going with the whole team.
That's it. So when the team is the tide that lifts all boats.
Yeah.
Now, do you wait for people who just keep pouring water in their boat? The answer is no. You teach them, you give them the standards, you give them the help, but you move on. You can't work harder in someone else's business than they're willing to.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Absolutely.
match their effort.
I call that MLM welfare.
Yeah. Well, you can match their effort. And I guess in some of the MLM models, you're really trying to go down far enough to find the superstar.
Yeah.
And then you work with them. I get that. But if you just think about it as these are your teammates, these are the people, if you are bringing them into your business.
My doctor, and I'm telling him, you know, well, this app.
You are
Sorry,
absolutely.
my phones are going off.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to say that again because you can fix it.
Yeah.
When you bring someone into your MLM business, you are responsible for them. They
Yes.
are part of your team.
Yes.
They join because they trust you. You have to live up to that trust. When someone joins your team in marriage, it's because they trust you, and you have to live up to that trust.
Yep. I love it. That's awesome. Wow.
You wanted something for your folks to do between now and March.
Yes, absolutely. Give us some homework.
I'm going to give you some homework. It is called, I call it journaling.
Okay.
Once a week, write a half a page
Okay.
on where your relationship is, and at least one specific thing that you are going to work on the following week to improve it. And then your journal entry the following week is going to begin with, how did you do? What did you learn? What could you have done better? And then what are you going to work on this week? So you're going to have a specific focus on improving your relationship. Now, if you're single, it might be your relationship with a child if you're a parent. If you're not a parent either, it might be, what am I going to do to improve the relationship with my boss or one of my subordinates at work? But you're going to focus on a critical relationship each week from now to March.
Love it.
And then you're going to measure where you are in March versus where you are today.
Awesome. All right. I will put that in the notes on this video as well.
Okay.
I think that's absolutely amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much. So we're excited to be able to get to see you in person. And I still want to do a couple more of these if you are up for it, on like leading up to the event as well. And I kind of want to get, I'm going to post this video and everything, and I want to get some feedback from people. So I want to, what do you think, 2 weeks out, let them do this journaling? How long do you think? 2 weeks, a month?
What I need to probably do is go into the last week in September, because between now and then, I'm going to buy a house, sell a house, and move.
Okay, that's a lot. And I know how that feels, so that's crazy. So why don't we do, say, 1 month from now?
That works.
And then check in and see how people are doing with the journaling and seeing if it's, you know, it's effective, and if anybody has any questions for that.
Well, and what I would also like for them to do is to send you questions that are topics that they would like us to talk about the next time we get together.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. I know last time we got such great feedback. People really loved it. They really enjoyed it. It really brought some great awareness to them, and it gets people, you know, fired up to really invest in their relationship. They can invest in all kinds of things, but people neglect relationships the most, it seems. And that's the most important thing. So yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much, Stan, for jumping on here with us and giving us your time. I know it's very valuable. You have your own family, so I appreciate it. And we will reconvene. Let's put it down for 1 month from now. So that is what, October 10th? So today the 10th. So yeah, so that would be October.
The 10th is a
So
Saturday.
it's a Saturday. So let's do the 8th.
Yeah,
October
Thursday the 8th. That sounds like a winner.
Okay.
All right.
October 8th, we will do a check-in, and we'll get some good questions from everybody, and we will get this thing going, because I know people are going to have some good results and some good stories too to say and be able to share with us. So that'll be great. Also, I'll post this video for public. So if you want to share it with, you know, a friend, a colleague, or somebody that you think that this could help, I'll make that available. We'll put it on YouTube and on Stan's page, and as well as our own, and that way it'll be able to be available for other people to see, and you guys can help follow along and go on this journey with us. Sound good?
That's awesome. Thank you.
No problem. All right. Well, thank you very much. Have a wonderful night, And we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh.
Hey, Jace. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Tell your sisters I said hi too, okay?